guys, welcome back to another one. This time we're going to do another 12 gauge defensive style load here. So my thinking is you have your 9-pellet double lot loads that everybody likes, but what if you want just a few more pellets than that? Because 9 pellets, that's not a very good pellet count, although a certainly capable load. But some people, me, just want a few more pellets. So that's what we're doing here. This is going to be 12 pellets of 29 cal number 1 buck. Number 1 buck, I've said this before, is actually 30 cal, but 29 cal is close enough, and a lot of people do consider that to be 30 cal. It doesn't technically have a size name, but you can call it number 2 3/4 buck if you want to, but I just call it 29 cal number 1. Great pellet size. The smaller size of the pellet will penetrate less, although if you load these to higher velocities, they're still going to overpenetrate pretty bad. So I suggest loading these between 11 and 1200 FPS. I do want to be clear though, I would not personally use this load for home defense or something like that, but it's still a great deer load if your state allows pellets that are 29 cal. I wouldn't hesitate for a second to shoot a deer with this. At appropriate distances, of course, but the components we're using are a brand new primed Federal 2 3/4 inch 12 gauge shell. This does have a 209A primer, but we're also using the Claybuster Federal 12S3 clone. Love this wad. We've got a bunch of these guys. We're using green dot powder, 19.5. An overshot card. That is a 12 gauge nitro card I have took one section off of, so that's our overshot card. And of course, BPI Super Buckshot 29 cal. One of my favorite sizes, to be honest. See, they call it number 2.5 buck, but number 2 buck is 27 cal. 29 cal doesn't really make it 2.5 in my opinion. This is really 2 3/4 buck. Anyway, if you want to use something like this to hunt with, I suggest adding buffer to it, but since this is a defensive load, or at least how I'm doing it, we're not using buffer here. We're just going lead. That's it. So to keep this, short and sweet, let's get into it. There's that. Now, Federal 12S3 clone from Claybuster, or if you had the actual 12S3s, just use those. But I don't have any, sadly. To be honest, I'm not even sure Federal still makes those, but luckily enough, Claybuster does. I have broken down a lot of Federal shells, and I can't even remember seeing one in an actual Federal shell. If you guys know what they put the 12S3s in, let me know. Next, we'll need our 29 cal, 12 pellets of it. This is 0.99 of 1 ounce, so basically a 1 ounce load. If you add buffer, it'll be 1.02. These will stack by 4s in here, which is not ideal for the best patterns, but that's just how they go in. But you can see, stacked by 4s, that actually looks pretty cool. But lastly, we'll need our overshot card. And you can see we are at the right stack height for a fold crimp. Go over to my 12 gauge Lee Loadall, give it the pre-crimp. That looks excellent. The Lee Loadall actually has a really good crimp starter, if you guys didn't know. Get that out of the way. And I have here the Guyp Rebasator, thanks to Martin. And what that does is forms a middle crimp on the shell. That one almost closed it up, but you can see here, it wasn't supposed to close it up that much. That was my fault. But it creates a crease around the center of the hull right here, or the edge I should say. And that is going to look beautiful after we fold crimp it. Because why not? Let's give it a little bit more. Yeah, that pretty much closed it up. That is totally ready to shoot, although it is not tapered at all. In fact, it's sort of belled out a little bit. That's fine. We'll run it through our final crimp on our Lee Loadall, and it's going to look excellent. I really did not mean to close that up all the way, but there you go, guys. It looks like a factory shell. That is an excellent crimp. To be honest, that crimp is so good that, well, you can't really ask for better, but we're going to make it better with the Guyp BN2. We're going to give it a really nice taper. And here's what it looks like now. Still looks like a factory shell, although now we have a really nice taper on it. Kind of hard to see because this is a clear hull. There you go, the beard always makes things better. Actually, I'll turn the camera around to get you guys a better view of this. These clear holes and white ones just do not play with the camera very well at all. There you go. How about a nice blue background? You can see we have a nice taper on it. And the crimp is, well, it's flawless to be honest. But that's what the fancy Italian tools will get you. OMV or Guy Probacitor and a crimp finisher, in my case BN2. Excellent end result. I'll put a few more of these together off camera. Should make a nice range video for you guys. And I'll throw some buffer in one and we'll shoot it at a little bit longer range, probably 40 yards. And see what they'll do in a hunting scenario. And we'll use, of course, a tighter choke than a improved cylinder or modified that we'll use for the 7 or 10 yard. We're not decided yet what we'll do, but we'll do something cool. Putting together shells like this, home defense style shells, and then testing them at the range is one of my favorite things to do. Especially when you can tweak them just a little bit and make hunting shells out of them. Normally, whenever we do hunting buckshot loads, we put them in full-length wads like a TPS or LBC wads, non-tox wads, and normally stack them by twos. But this is just a lead wad, a target wad, nothing special. They can produce pretty good results too. So you guys just stay tuned for that. Should be a pretty interesting video. But that's going to end this one here. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below and we'll get back to you. And if you want to, go check out our Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month, and you guys get early access to content. A link to that, as well as a link to our Instagram, Rumble, and merch store will be in the description below. But other than that, you guys take it easy, and we'll see you in the next one.